Shalom, everyone. Welcome to the Soul of Israel on thelandofisrael.com, on the Land of Israel Network. This is Rabbi Shlomo Katz. I'm joined with my dear brother, Rabbi Ari Abramowitz, and we're in the rush towards freedom. We're in the rush towards Pesach, which I'm sure you all can sense in the air. And we're not just speaking about the cleaning that you're thinking about, or that you're not thinking, that you're trying not to think about. We're speaking about the opportunity that Pesach has for us, and that's the opportunity to be alive. That's the opportunity to give our children life. That's what Pesach's all about. It's an opportunity of stopping everything and asking myself, where in my life does the fact that I'm created in the image of God, does it play any role in my life? For real. And what does that even mean? And I know these are a lot of heavy statements to start a show with, but there's so much in my heart I wanted to share. And I hope and pray that each of you really realize how precious it is, that you feel so precious in our eyes, that you feel that because every time you've reached out after our shows and shared your heart, it always creates the energy for the following show. And after last week's episode, I got so much, I didn't even discuss it with you, Ari, I got so much mail, I got so many letters and so much, an outpouring of love and this longing to feel that it's possible to become free. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because this coming Shabbos, it's really when the beginning of this freedom truly opens up. Because this coming Shabbat, it's the big first day of the month of Nisan, it's Rosh Chodesh. And we know that our sages have told us, Ben Nisan nigalnu, v'ben Nisan atidin lehigael. In Nisan, we were redeemed, the story of Passover. And in Nisan, in the future, we will be redeemed again. And there's something in the air. And I'm not talking about elections. Alavai, please God, we should be redeemed from being slaves to elections, being slaves to whatever it is, anything other than you, Ribbono Sholem. And even with you, we don't want to be slaves, we want to be servants. But this coming Shabbos, we also read what's called Parshat HaChodesh. We read, there's 4 special segments we read in additional to the regular Torah portions in like the month and a half before Pesach. And this Shabbos, we read about Parshat HaChodesh, which is the reading of the first mitzvah that was given to us in the Torah, which is the sanctifying the new month, Kiddush Levana. HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, Rosh Chodeshim. And the word month in Hebrew is the same letters as Chadash, Chodesh and Chadash. Meaning that we welcome in the new month by talking about newness, by talking about rejuvenation, by speaking about renewal. I once heard a phrase by the grand rabbi of the dynasty of Kubrin. It's a Hasidic dynasty that doesn't really exist anymore. But the Kubriner Rebbe said like this: whoever thinks that there's a mitzvah that's big enough that prevents a Jew's longing to renew himself in his service of God has not stepped on the doorpost of Judaism. Meaning, if you think that you did something in your life that's large and that's big enough to separate you from the opportunity to renew yourself, then you have no idea what Judaism is. Now, I can't tell you how many times that statement has actually saved my life. Not as a cop-out, God forbid, but as something very real and essential in my understanding of what it means to be in a lively service of Hashem, lively service of God. Where was this mitzvah of renewing yourselves, of being in charge of time? Where did it come? Where was it given to us? We were still in Egypt. We were still slaves. We were on our way out, but we weren't fully free. So our Hasidic masters explained to us that this mitzvah was given to us dafka there while we were still in a state of somewhat slavery. Because God was telling us, listen, you're going to feel like you're going to be a slave in your life many times. Slave to addiction, slave to lust, slave to jealousy, slave to people's opinions. And someone will come to you and talk to you about coming close to God and refining your soul. And you'll probably say, no, I first have to become a clean person in order to discuss such beautiful ideas. And God says it doesn't work like that. It starts when you're ready, when you're still in the mud, when you're still in Egypt, when you're still surrounded by everything that goes against what you want. And I know this is easier said than done because it's easy to say these statements, but to actually act on them, these are big things. That's why we need to pray while we're learning today's, what we're saying today. It's got to come with the prayer. I mean, Ari, do you feel that you want to smack me in the face right now? Or do you feel like, please call me when I need to hear this? Which one?
The latter.
Come on. Just the latter?
I never want to smack you in the face, Rabbi. What you're saying is really striking deep, because even, you become new. Let's say we have Hashem answers our davening, right? And this Chodesh is a new one. So this is what I find for myself. I hold on to the newness, but then the newness gets old, right? And then you need another influx of divine assistance, because that actual real core spark of what is new, you can't engineer that. It can only come from above, and that leaves you feeling a little bit helpless, I think. I don't know if that was...
So you even become a slave to renewal.
Yes.
That's pretty... Yeah, that just means that we have to deepen the concept of what it means to be renewed. Some people think that means I need something different all the time. I need to travel somewhere else to feel new, or I need to do something, to change something physical in myself in order to feel that newness. I got to tell you, I've seen people that look like they're wearing the same clothes for 60 years, and they look like they haven't made any fashion statements ever, and they live in the same place, in the same house, and if I was be permitted to swear, I'd swear they're the most renewed people I could ever imagine. So what is it? So what makes a person be defined as someone that has the power of renewal? What is it? So I learned a beautiful teaching by a big Rav, Rabbi Biederman. Rav Biederman has these. He's a rabbi, lives in Bnei Brak, and I encourage you all to find his stuff online. Wellsprings is what he puts out every single week, Hebrew, English, and Yiddish. And he brings our attention, when we're discussing the concept of renewal, to dafka, to what classifies fish as kosher, and what's like tahor, and what's not tahor by fish, because not all fish are permitted to be consumed, right? To be eaten. He says an amazing thing. One of the signs, simanei tahara, one of the signs of purity by a fish, are fish that have snapir v'kaskeset. I always love those words, funny words. Snapir v'kaskeset means fins and scales. He says, why dafka is it that a fish that has fins and scales alludes to simanei tahara, signs of purity? Because with fins and scales, it provides the fish with the ability to fly, to go upstream. Neged hazerim, against the flow, the current, right? He says that's a siman of a dag tahor. And there's an opinion in our sages that says a fish that does not have the ability to swim upstream is not kosher. Now this is like this says it all. This says it all. You know what the power of renewal is? The power of renewal is that whatever is happening in the world, I have the ability to swim against it. Meaning, this is also the meaning of what Avraham Avinu was. He's known as Avraham HaIvri. And in Ivri, in Hebrew, means the Hebrew, but it also means me'ever, on the other side. And Chazal, our sages tell us, what made Avram was that the whole world was on one side, and Avram Avinu was on the other side. And he can swim also upstream. Upstream meaning he can go directly up, not opposite, but he can. All the rhythm of the world is going one way, but my heart tells me something else. That I can actually do that. That's someone that is seeking renewal all the time. And I honestly believe in my heart of hearts, this is one of the hardest things to really hold on to in times of need. Because a person that's given up on life, it's because he's given up on the concept that he'd be able to be like a pure fish that has fins and scales. They have, and even if You have fins and scales, you get too tired and say, I can't use it anymore.
Right. Sometimes it feels like the flow of the river is so strong. It's not even,
oh my God.
We can't even swim against it. You just have to surrender to it.
Absolutely.
Like I look at, especially at American Jewry, American Western culture. It's so overwhelming. Here it feels overwhelming looking at it. Imagine being immersed in it. You know, it's just, it would take a miracle to be able to swim upstream within that environment.
Right. You know, something we have to remember, like some things we don't have to choose. Like you could choose to not swim in that ocean as well. But it takes a lot of koach to renew yourself to choose to not swim in that ocean as well. But whatever it is, God tells us when we start this march towards Seder, HaChodesh hazeh lachem. It's in your hands. It's in your hands to know what to do with time, how to utilize time. You're not a servant to time. You can use the time that God gave you in this world to sanctify it and say, no matter what's happening in this world, I can choose right now with all my heart and soul to be like that fin and scales. Or I could say, it's already decreed that I'm like this. You know, can you imagine how many leaders we wouldn't have had in the years that could have legitimately justified their non-renewal energy in the world due to what they've seen. Think of how many people chose fins and scales and how easily they could have said, it's too big for me. What I went through in this world, it's just too much. I mean, this country was built by so many people whose fins and scales were cut off by the Germans, and yet they come here in 1946, 47, 48, and every day since then, and say, I'm renewing my concept of what it means to believe in myself. This is the land of renewal. It renews itself every single day. Right now, as we're recording right now, it happened last week and we're hearing it again. We hear a tractor right now on a nearby mountain. A mountain that's renewing itself by building homes for Jewish people to dwell in their homeland. The concept of renewal is all around us in this country all the time. And that's why I really connect to what you said before, but that the sense of renewal is mitzion tetzeh. It's from here. It's from this. This is the headquarters of renewal. It's the place that, please God, fashion doesn't dictate to us what it means to be in or not in. The whole world says one thing, and it's not that we go against it because we like to be dafka people, but it's just that's not our rhythm. We're something else. And that's why we read Parshat HaChodesh Hazeh Lachem, that God tells us, listen, you're still in Egypt, I'm giving you a mitzvah. You know what that mitzvah is? Sanctify your time. Choose right now what you want to do with the next 5 minutes. And that's what I want to advise all our listeners right now. When you're done with this, choose right now. Don't let what you think the world is dictating to you to do, to be that which you have to do. Choose right now how you're going to sanctify the next 5 minutes. Sing a song for 5 minutes. Write a nice letter to someone for 5 minutes. Say some Tehillim, Psalms, for 5 minutes. Go on a walk without earbuds, without earphones, and just breathe in nature. But sanctify the next 5 minutes. That's your key to freedom. That's your key to becoming a free person. And that is the true path towards renewal. What you choose to do with the next 5 minutes.
Tune in to Inside Israel Today here on the Land of Israel Network, where we have been introducing the world to the candidates running for Knesset. From the Meretz party on the far left to the Otzma Yehudit party on the right. From the Likud to the Blue and White party. From the Labor Party to the Zehut party. We at Inside Israel Today have been interviewing politicians from across the political spectrum who are running in the April 9th election. Tune in to Inside Israel Today on the Land of Israel Network, on thelandofisrael.com.